it's one of the craziest propositions of all time. You take a guy who just had a boxing match that looks like a sparring match with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and then you're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists in the heavyweight division.
Anthony Joshua just dropped a bomb, and Joe Rogan is furious. New claims about Jake Paul's alleged fight manipulation are shaking the boxing world, sparking backlash, questions, and serious doubt about what really happens behind the scenes. In this breakdown, we uncover what Joshua revealed and why Rogan says this could change everything for Jake Paul. Rogan's health warning: beyond a knockout. In the immediate aftermath of Jake Paul's heavily publicized knockout loss to Anthony Joshua, Joe Rogan's commentary shifted focus from spectacle to long-term health implications. On his podcast, Rogan described the outcome not as entertainment, but as a potentially life-altering event, pointing directly at the physical cost Paul incurred. Rogan's warning did not dwell on the hype or the financial success of the bout, widely reported to have generated substantial revenue, but rather on the cumulative impact repeated head trauma can have on a fighter's neurological and psychological well-being.
His punch that he knocks Tyron Woodley out cold with, Joshua just eats it.
Yeah.
Because he's a giant.
Yeah.
He's a fucking giant man.
So big, dude.
He's so big.
I give Jake so much credit for stepping into that ring.
Bro, he got hit with a bomb,
Yeah.
a right-hand bomb.
When he got hit with that too.
Rogan, whose combat sports analysis carries weight in both MMA and boxing communities, stressed that sustained strikes to the head may not immediately manifest visible symptoms, but can lead to serious conditions such as brain imbalance, depression, addiction, and impulsive behavior over time. This framing pushes viewers to think past the immediate highlight reels and interruptions to long-term quality of life. Jake Paul's condition, including his broken jaw and ongoing recovery after surgical repairs with titanium plates, underscores Rogan's point. A single punch in boxing, especially at heavyweight, can inflict structural and neurological harm that lingers. While Paul has publicly expressed intentions to return to competition at a lighter weight or pursue other avenues, Rogan's caution introduces a sobering narrative about career longevity and post-fight health priorities. Rogan's comments diffuse the usual fanfare that follows major boxing spectacles. Instead, he pressed for an understanding of the cost of participation, advocating reflection rather than celebration. Whether Paul heeds this advice remains an open question, but Rogan's message reframes the loss as more than defeat. It's a potential crossroads in a fighter's life. Online rumors, scripted or real? In the digital aftermath of the Paul Joshua bout, segments of the online community latched onto a narrative that transcended traditional fight analysis. Speculation that the match was scripted or staged. This thread did not emerge from official evidence but from patterns of social media commentary, fan forums, and reaction videos, some even titled provocatively to suggest manipulation.
Yeah.
Joshua against
252.
Ngannou was 252.
6'6". Not just 6'6", but 6'6", and knows how to use every fucking inch of it. Knows how to keep that stick in your face. He was keep that jab in his face, and that right hand, if it hits you, you're fucked. And
these claims were largely rooted in subjective interpretations of the early portion of the fight, where observers noted low activity and a seeming lack of engagement from Anthony Joshua in the opening rounds. Critics interpreted this as evidence that the pacing was artificially extended, fostering the illusion of competitiveness before a decisive knockout. Online threads, particularly on platforms like Reddit, amplified these impressions with phrases like, "These fights are not real," or "Every punch is pulled." Despite the volume of speculative commentary, there is no credible evidence to indicate the match was fixed or scripted in any organized, premeditated way. Prominent industry figures, such as promoter Eddie Hearn, have publicly denied that the contest was anything but a sanctioned professional bout, noting that any scripted outcome would be illegal and subject to investigation by regulatory bodies. Jake Paul himself responded on social media after the fight with a one-word reaction: rigged? A gesture widely interpreted as a retort to online rumblings, rather than an assertion of factual wrongdoing. The broader conversation around scripted content reflects deeper skepticism among segments of the combat sports audience toward crossover events. where entertainers or influencers face trained professionals. Misgivings like these often say more about fan distrust of spectacle boxing than about concrete proof of manipulation. In this case, speculation thrived on perception rather than substantiated irregularities. Legal and promotional defenses against fixing claims. Following the contentious and highly viewed clash between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, a distinct angle of the post-fight discourse has centered on legal pushback against allegations of rigging and manipulation. Rather than letting rumors circulate unchallenged, Paul's promotional team and legal counsel have taken an active approach in countering unfounded claims.
Don't do this very long, because there's a price that you pay that is not worth it.
According to public reports, Jake Paul's representatives, led by business partner Nakisa Badarian, have confirmed that lawyers are pursuing individuals and media sources that have suggested the fight was fixed. These actions, articulated during appearances on programs like The Ariel Helwani Show, underscore the professional team's commitment to protecting Paul's brand and the integrity of the event. The legal dimension of this response rests on the reality that labeling a sanctioned professional sporting event as fixed can have serious implications for business relationships, sponsorships, and future fight negotiations. Accusations of manipulation in officially recognized competitions, especially those involving betting markets, have the potential to disrupt contractual obligations and invite scrutiny from regulatory bodies. By framing such allegations as not only unfounded but actionable, Paul's camp positions itself against a backdrop of social media commentary that often blurs between opinion and defamatory assertion. This response also highlights a broader trend in sports entertainment. Fighters and promoters are more willing than ever to leverage legal avenues to silence or deter damaging speculation. While fierce debate will continue online about performance and legitimacy, the involvement of lawyers reframes the issue. It moves accusations of scripted outcomes from casual discussion into a formal domain where consequences, financial and reputational, can be directly addressed. Fan reaction, skepticism, and distrust. In the hours and days after the Joshua versus Paul fight concluded, fan forums across Reddit and social media revealed a significant vein of skepticism and distrust among viewers. Rather than focusing solely on the official outcome, a sixth-round knockout with Paul sustaining a broken jaw, many posts fixated on perceived irregularities in the early rounds and questioned the authenticity of the bout's pacing and competitiveness.
I think there's many different ways of making money. I just don't think Jake's going to listen probably for another 3 to 5 years. I think Jake's going to continue going for another 3 to 5 years. My guesstimation, I could be wrong. I'm not in the guy's head. I just support the guy. And I wish the guy nothing but the best. But I thought this was very good feedback from Joe to Jake Paul.
Some viewers characterized the opening rounds as unusually slow or lacking engagement, with comments asserting that Joshua held back or deliberately prolonged the fight in ways that didn't align with conventional professional boxing behavior. Others outright declared the contest rigged, speculating that the narrative of spectacle had overridden legitimate competition. These claims were largely speculative and rhetorical rather than evidence-based, yet they rapidly gained traction in comment threads. This wave of distrust highlights broader attitudes within parts of the combat sports community toward crossover boxing events involving social media personalities. For many traditionalists, the fusion of entertainment with competitive sport invites suspicions that outcomes are shaped by spectacle, ratings, or commercial interest rather than pure athletic contest. Yet, in these fan spaces, interpretations vary widely. Other commentators pushed back strongly against rigged narratives, emphasizing that strategic pacing, defensive tactics, or mismatches in style can explain periods of low activity without implying manipulation. Debate threads often devolve into polarized exchanges, with one side highlighting boxing fundamentals and the other projecting broader resentment toward influencer boxing. Celebrity and social media. Reaction. Beyond the ring. The Joshua-Paul fight did not fade quietly when the final bell tolled. It exploded into a global social media conversation involving official commentary, celebrity voices, betting blowbacks, and fan responses that reflected polarized viewpoints about the legitimacy and value of high-profile crossover bouts. The fight was streamed to millions on Netflix, where viewership was reported at roughly 33 million, a significant but lower figure than Paul's previous Netflix-streamed event, and generated over 1.25 billion impressions worldwide on social platforms.
But the thing about Anthony Joshua, if he loses this, so let's say he's only getting the 92 million, which I bet he's getting more. Let's say he's getting 92 million. If he loses this fight, he misses out on that Saudi money, because they could set up a Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua fight, and each one of them gets $200 million.
On Twitter and Instagram, celebrities and athletes offered a range of opinions. Boxer Chris Eubank Jr. publicly acknowledged the courage it took for Paul to step into the ring with a former world champion and Olympic gold medalist, framing the effort as respectable regardless of outcome. Others, including musician and fighter KSI, posted direct praise for Anthony Joshua's performance and the straightforwardness of the result, which left no doubt inside the ring. Yet social media engagement was not limited to sports figures. High-profile personalities outside of combat sports, like singer SCA, referenced both Joshua and contemporaneous Manny Tate fight outcomes in humorous and critical posts, highlighting how the bout entered broader pop culture discussion. Critics of the fight shared clips mocking Paul's performance, especially after his broken jaw was confirmed, while some commentators lamented that the spectacle did more to entertain than to honor boxing's technical craft. Celebrity reactions also crossed into financial realms. Content creators and gamblers publicly shared losses tied to backing Paul heavily, underlining the high-stakes nature of celebrity fights in betting markets. One creator noted a loss exceeding $500,000 after wagering on a Paul upset, underscoring how these events blend entertainment with economic risk. This mosaic of responses demonstrates how major crossover fights now function as social events as much as sporting contests. Fans and figures alike interpreted the fight through personal lenses: admiration, humor, critique, and commercial consequence, shaping a narrative that extends far beyond the punches thrown inside a ring. Industry voices, skill, legitimacy, and fight quality. Beyond fan reactions and online speculation, veteran voices in boxing and MMA brought needed clarity to the Joshua-Paul discussion. The debate wasn't only about the sixth-round knockout, it centered on what the fight revealed about skill gaps, preparation, and whether influencer-driven matchups belong beside elite competition.
Wow.
Yeah.
If I was a coach, I'd be like, get that kid young.
Yeah.
Grab him.
Grab him.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
What you want is an intelligent psycho.
Mm-hmm.
Experienced fighters and analysts pushed back on rigged fight narratives. Jorge Masvidal noted that if manipulation existed, it would be obvious on fight night, because combat sports outcomes are determined in the cage or ring, not in whispers backstage. Boxing analysts echoed the point. Regulators, promoters, and athletes all have legal and financial reasons to protect legitimacy. They argued the more realistic explanation was simple: experience. Anthony Joshua, an Olympic gold medalist and former two-time heavyweight champion, faced an opponent whose career developed through selective crossover bouts. That imbalance, they said, shaped everything we saw. Critics of Jake Paul's performance emphasized tactics, not conspiracy. Analysts like Matt Brown suggested Paul entered the ring unprepared to truly compete, focusing on survival over strategy, but without implying anything dishonest. In the end, these grounded perspectives redirected the conversation toward real issues: matchmaking, readiness, and how entertainment ambitions collide with the realities of elite sport. Debate over safety, mismatches, and boxing's future. Perhaps the most substantive discussion emerging from the Joshua-Paul fight revolves around safety concerns and the long-term implications of crossover matchmaking in professional boxing. The debate extends beyond the immediate result, a decisive knockout and serious injury, to deeper questions about how such bouts fit into the sport's competitive fabric and regulatory frameworks.
All right, so we're here at the after party. I have to be honest, the vibes are way more chill than I thought. He's doing great. How are you feeling?
Never been better.
Yeah, he's absolutely crushing it.
Bring out the vodka.
Yeah, we're doing great in here.
Critics warned ahead of the fight that it risked being a catastrophic mismatch, citing the substantial differences in size, experience, and technical ability between the two fighters. Expert opinions noted that Paul's lighter frame and shorter reach placed him at a distinct disadvantage against a seasoned heavyweight like Joshua. Regulatory bodies in some regions reportedly declined to approve similar crossover bouts on safety grounds for precisely this reason. After the event, voices in the boxing community reiterated these concerns. Analysts highlighted that a mismatch of this nature could deter legitimate athletes and fans who see the sport's competitive value as compromised when event promotion prioritizes spectacle over safety. Some argued that such fights might discourage crossover participation if repeated poorly matched events result in severe injuries or diminished public trust. This dialogue intersects with broader trends. As crossover events generate huge paydays and media deals, the Joshua Paul fight was a major Netflix headline. Sport leaders are grappling with how to balance commercial appeal with boxer welfare. The debate touches on weight class protocols, matchmaking criteria, and whether influencer fighters should be allowed to challenge elite professionals without clearer developmental trajectories. The dust may settle, but the questions won't. If Jake Paul wants a future in this sport, every move from here on out matters. Step back, rethink, or keep pushing forward and risk everything. The decision is his, and the impact reaches far beyond one fighter. What would you do in his place? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.